Leader of Government Business in the Lower House, Honourable Gregory Bowen, cited the sale of Grenlec 22 years ago as one of the biggest blunders during the 1990-95 reign of the National Democratic Congress NDC administration of Sir Nicholas Brathwaite.
And it is not the sale per se, Mr. Speaker, but the conditions under which it was sold. Because we all like private sector to run things. But if you allow the private sector to run it without the regulatory arm, consumers will suffer. The company, WRB, won the bid for 50%. They paid $15 million when there were other companies who were offering more. With the $15 million they got, they had to take some money out of it, buy a generator. They had to take some money out of it, put for the workers. So what the state ended up with was less than 9 point something million dollars out of the 15 for Grenlec. That is what the state ended up with, Mr. Speaker.
Bowen highlighted other flaws under the old agreement with Grenlec, which has made reacquisition of the company difficult for successive governments.
Our repurchase event is, Grenlec, do not like what you do, so I'm giving you the shares. It's not expropriation. You're not asking them to buy it. They're coming to you and say, I don't like what you do, so buy back the share. And you may say, well, okay, I'll pay the fair value. Fair value what? You got to pay a mountain on top of the fair value. And here are the conditions they say, Mr. Speaker. I'll just mention some of them. Any imposition of a change without the consent of Grenlec in Grenlec's rate adjustment. Any annulment or impairment of the terms or scope of the exclusivity of the license. So if you tell your local Grenadians that they could generate on their roof, they say, buy it back. Any occurrence or circumstance which renders Eastern Caribbean dollars no longer convertible into the United States dollars. If that dollar collapses and it is not freely convertible, then you better buy it. Not only buy it, pay me in US dollars too.
The leader of Government Business said this new piece of legislation will remove some of the restrictions that are currently preventing governments from liberalizing the country's energy sector. This will be done by empowering the new Public Utilities Regulatory Commission to set standardized rates for consumers. He said of public interest will be the added benefits this bill presents for people who generate electricity through solar panels.
This act, Mr. Speaker, now makes the sale of electricity only the excess to and from the electricity provider, the network provider, and the homeowner or the self-generator. So if you can use all that you produce for yourself, you will use it. It will not be sold. You will want extra, so you'll buy a smaller amount from Grenlec. But if you produce more that you can use, then you will sell only the excess to Grenlec. So you can recover your investment, Mr. Speaker.
Part 7 of the bill also provides for the granting of a new license to supply electricity to Grenlec, which will be a non-exclusive license to generate electricity. Orselyn Crosby, GBN News.